Alright guys, what's going on? So today we're doing cross-site scripting. This is the next step in our junior pen testing path, and here basically they're just giving you a prerequisite saying that you should have a little bit of Java scripting experience. You can do this box without it, I'll tell you that, but you'll just understand the concepts. You won't be able to deep dive into cross-site scripting really until you understand that. So with that said, guys, here's some. It's telling you here that they're extremely common, which is true. This is one of the more common ones on OWASP top 10. It's, I want to say 3 or 4. I can't remember now. But anyway, here's some big ones that were found. So someone got paid $7,500 for finding one in Steam Chat, $2,500 for finding in HackerOne. It doesn't specify how much, but in Instagram and Shopify they were found. So what does XSS stand for? Cross-site scripting. So you'll see XSS a lot if you look at like hacker blogs and stuff. That's cross-site scripting. That's what they're trying to tell you. So what is a payload? A payload isn't necessarily just for cross-site scripting. It's for any attack. The payload is the actual data you're sending to them. So whether it's a script or a program that you're using, whatever the case is, the payload is what's being sent to attack them in a sense. All right, so proof of concept. So this script here, you're going to see quite a bit today. What it is it's just a script that's just going to pop up an alert and tell us XSS is all it's going to say on it. They use the one that says THM. That's the one we're going to use today. And basically what it's going to do is it's just going to prove that, okay, I can inject code because my alert's popping up when I want it, rather than you stealing data. So session stealing. So what that is they use this script for today. And what it is here, I'll break it down for you. Fetch is using a HTTP request, and it's saying send the data to this HTTP listener. And this BTOA document.cookie is saying grab the document, that's .cookie, and base64 encode it before you send it out. So this one's a keylogger. These are just different payloads they're talking about here, guys. This is a keylogger. Again, all it's doing is sending the information here, but it's actually documenting the key logs. What it's doing, a keylogger just tracks what you're typing. So basically, you can see people's passwords and things like that as they're typing them in. Business logic, this one's a little bit more specific, and what it's going to do is it's going to have the website change the user email to whatever email they want, so when they go to reset the password or something like that, it actually resets to theirs. So that's basically what those different types of payloads are, just walking you through them, and you guys can read through this, but for the process of this box itself, that's enough of the information. Which document property could contain the user session token? And that's right here, the document.cookie, right there. That's what they're looking for. And then which JavaScript method is often used as proof of concept? That's the alert we saw there. Okay, so now reflected cross-site scripting. So what this is there's different types of cross-site scripting, obviously, but reflected is when the user supplied data is sent in the request is included in the web source without validation. So what does that mean, right? So what that means is if you're inputting data, you can see here like this one, this is an error, invalid input detected. So let's say it's asking for a password and it knows the password can't have, exclamation points, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You'll get an alert, right? It'll say invalid input. Or if you just don't, if it expects you to click something within a certain period of time and you never do, whatever, you're getting this invalid input. Well, you can see here this invalid input is just put in plain text. So what that means is it's just reading it as text. So there's no validation with that, is what they're saying. There's no way for it to know if you change that and say, instead of invalid input detected, run my script, right? There's no way of it knowing the difference, and it will run your script because it's just a computer, just does what it's told. So, like I said here, this application doesn't check the contents of the error parameter. So here you can see what they did is they said, okay, cool. Well, instead of that alert, what we're going to do is we're going to have it run this evil.js. So it's actually going to reach out to this attacker.thm website, and it's going to pull that script and run it. So you can see this is the website you would send to someone, right? Error, script, source, there you go. Well, you could send that to someone, and what's going to happen is it's going to run that when it goes to the website, right? Because it's told to. That person doesn't know that. That person doesn't know that pulled that and ran it. The person goes to the website. It probably is going to send their cookie to you. Now you can use that cookie to log on that site and pretend you're that person. So that's what they're doing here. And they're just saying how to test for it. Parameters in the URL query string, the URL file path, and sometimes HTTP headers, although unlikely exploitable in practice. So again, it's just telling you some of the possible points of entry. And then it says where in a URL is a good place to test, and it says parameters. So again, within these parameters, that's what you're looking for when you're going to test this. That's reflected. So now stored is what you'll see talked about a little bit more often. Basically, this is more something you might have heard of, I would say. But basically what it is we call this drive-by hacking, but cross-site scripting is a little different than inputting a payload that way. But basically what it is an attacker inserts malicious payload into the website. So what it is that web database is sitting on the back end of a website, right? And then when a website needs that database, like it needs to load a picture or something, it's going to reach back to the database and pull it forward rather than actually have it all hosted on the web server. Now, sometimes it will, but typically. So what it's saying here is they insert it into the database. So now every time someone visits that website and calls upon that resource, whatever it is, that data is being sent out to the attacker. So how does that work, right? Well, if we do that same session cookie attack that we did up here, so right here, if we had that sitting right there, if we had that sitting on a database somewhere, and every time someone needed to click on a certain link or went to a website, a certain thing, it would send their cookie information to us. So now we'd have, depending on the website, thousands of cookies we could use to log into these websites, right? And we could change your information, we could gather information from you, all that stuff. So here it's saying how to test for it. You're going to be looking for comments on blogs, user profile information, website listings. So basically anywhere that is actually going to take that data and store it back on the database. All right, and then how are stored cross-site scripting payloads usually stored on a website, and it's in the database. All right, so these ones, document object model is a little bit more complex to understand, but it's pretty simple on the actual face of it. So what we're looking at here is it explains it here. It represents the page so that the program can change the document structure, style, and content. So what it is instead of basically right here, DOM-based cross-site scripting, where the JavaScript execution happens directly in the browser without any pages being loaded or data submitted to the back-end code. So what it is it's a way to take your code for a website, right? And actually you give it basically permission to rearrange the code depending on what you're looking. So like when you look on a phone, you want the website to look different than you do on a website, or on a computer or something like that. So this will actually take that information, and instead of reach back to the database or the back end and say, hey, what do I do here? What do I do here? It actually is allowed to rearrange the elements themselves. So that's what you're looking for. So now it tells us what it is. So this says the website's JavaScript gets the contents from the window.location.hash parameter. Okay, and then writes that onto the page. So what it's saying is it can directly grab this location, this parameter, and write it onto the page by itself, right? It doesn't need something to do it. It doesn't need user interference. It doesn't need anything like that. So that's what we're looking to exploit, right? Is let it do it for us. So here it says the contents of the hash aren't checked for malicious code. So therefore, if you could change this in the source code to whatever you wanted, right, and it didn't have validation, then it will run it automatically because it's told, do what you do, figure it out, and it will try and figure out where it goes and run it. All right, so the potential impact. Crafted links could be sent to the potential victims, redirecting them to another website or steal content from the page of the user's session. It's about had a stroke there. I don't know what happened. All right, so what that's saying is you could actually send the links to the people, right, with this changed in the source code, and it will load, and they won't know the difference, right, and you'll get their content. So now it's saying here how to test for it. Well, it's showing you here, and again, you'll need more actual hands-on experience before you'll understand what this is saying. But basically, it's saying you're looking for things like this, the windows.location.x parameters, something that you can change because those are variables. And then one thing it says here, when we found these bits of code, you need to see how they are handled. That's correct with all of this. You'll definitely need to see how those errors and things like that are handled. So now, what they're saying here is you're looking for whether the values are written to the web page as DOM or passed to unsafe JavaScript methods such as eval. So it says, what unsafe JavaScript method are we looking for in the source code? That eval right there. All right. So blind cross-site scripting. So this here is just when it's similar to stored cross-site scripting, but the difference is you're not going to see the direct impact. So what that means is, and they give you a good example here, but basically what you're going to be doing, like let's say you have a ticket database and you're sending tickets off to help desk, right? So you could insert that code into that ticket, and when help desk clicks on it, that's when the code actually executes. And so when they say blind, what they mean is you're not going to get it, you're not going to click it and then instantly get something, right? So the only way to test it is to have like a callback or something like that where they can actually, when they click it, you can see it, right? So it's blind. It's sitting out there waiting for someone to click on it. They say here a popular tool for this is XSS Hunter, which is a very common tool. Although it's possible to make your own tools, this tool automatically captures cookies, URLs, page contents, and more. So then it's asking us what tool can you use for blind XSS Hunter again, and what type is it similar to? Stored cross-site scripting. All right, perfect. So now we're getting into the actual meat and potatoes of it. All right, so this one here, once this loads up the machine, we're going to walk through these. There's 6 levels to this. Each actually explains it very well and is pretty cool. So the first one, it's just a text field that says enter your name, right? So what that means is it's giving us an input field. All right, so the first thing we need to do with that input field is actually see what is it doing with it. How's it handling that? And the first one, here's the source code for it. It'll actually show you it's just handling it as plain text. It just says hello Adam if you type Adam, right? Perfect. So with that plain text, we know this is the script. If you remember at the beginning that they said we can use to test the proof of concept to see if it's genuinely going to work. So we can insert this script, and if an alert pops up, we know we can actually insert malicious code into this, right? So the first one is very simple, and it's going to pop up here in 5 seconds. But the first one is very simple. It's just going to tell us it's handled plain text, and I'll show you guys this in the source code. So now we'll go ahead and open this in a new tab. All right, so here we go. We got it open in a new tab. Perfect. Enter your name, and we'll just say Stuffy. We'll hit enter. Page source, and let's look for it here. So you can see right here, hello Stuffy. Well, it's in plain text, right? So that means that we could probably insert our script. There's our script. The alert, we hit enter. Boom, the alert pops up. Okay, so we know it worked. So now when we view the page source for this, you can see instead of hello Stuffy, it says hello and then runs this script alert.thm. So it actually runs it for us. Perfect. Awesome. We're on to level 2. That one was easy, right? Okay, so now this one, let's do the same thing. Look at the source code and see how it handles that value. Okay, so we can see here that the input value equals Stuffy. So it's actually put into a field for us, into an actual variable basically, and that's that input tag. So what that means is it's storing the input value Stuffy and then calling upon it, right? So we need to basically get out of that input field. We need to break out. So how do we do that? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to insert the same script, but if we run that, it's not going to work because that will just store that as input, right? It won't actually, it'll store that as that input variable, and it won't actually do anything because it'll just think that's the name, right? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to hit hit quotation marks and a caret. What that's going to do is it's going to actually end the script. So you can see here where it says value, input value. With that, before you put your name, none of this exists, right? This is all taken out. It'll just say value quotation mark. So if we put a quotation mark and then a caret, it's going to end it and then run the script, if that makes sense to you guys. So we'll hit enter. Boom, pops up. Now if we look at the source code, you can see right here, hello, input value, this is where our name was. We actually said the input value is nothing. We entered 0 basically, nothing. and then it ran the script next. So that's a good way to break out of that input field, right? So that worked really well. So now we can go to level 3. All right, level 3. So this one is similar to the last one where we have to break out, and I'll show you what I mean by that. All right. So right here, hello, and you can see it's in a text area. Okay, well, what do we know about the last one? We had to break out by ending the text area, or the input value, right? So what if we put this text area in first? That will end the text area, right? And then we can put our script. And you can see here, that's exactly what they do. They give you that script. Boom. Paste. Enter. Perfect. And then we view the page source of it. And you can see right here, hello, text area. We ended the text area because we put that code in. And then we ran our script. Perfect. Now let's go to level 4. Okay, so this one's a little bit different, but it's pretty cool. So we'll hit it. Page source. All right, so we'll go find our name. All right, and you can see here, hello, span class equals name. There, right here is where it's doing it, and it's actually storing it right here. So, okay, so what that tells us is it's storing it as a class. So we need to end that class, right? Well, the problem is it's going to validate that class. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this script here, and I'll explain it as we go through it here. All right, so this first quotation mark and then the semicolon, or the whatever it is with the one that the whatever it is, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, that's going to end it. So the quotation mark here, see how this has a apostrophe instead of the quotation, whatever. They read the same, but see that apostrophe right there? So we put that first, and then we put this semicolon here, and that will actually say, okay, end that class, because that's, if you see it right here, that's what's ending it. So we put those there to end it, and then we say, now give us our alert. Now you might be asking, what are these 2 forward slashes for? Those are saying comment everything past this. And the reason for that, the reason we put that there is because now anything past our alert doesn't get read. So if there's a validation check or something like that, it's not going to read it. It's going to say perfect, and it's going to confirm it. So now we'll go to page source, and you can see right here's our class, and boom, look, there's our inner HTML where our name was, and we ended that, and we went on to alert, and then boom, it actually worked. So perfect. So now we can go to level 5. All right, level 5. Now this level looks the same as level 1. Okay, so that's good to know. So we'll go ahead and type that in. We'll hit page source, and we'll look for our name. Perfect, right there. It does look like level 1. Okay, so cool. Let's try our level 1 script, right? This is the level 1 script. Okay, hit enter. Didn't give us our alert. So what happened here? So if we go down to it, it says hello, alert THM, but didn't we have script in there somewhere? So it's actually removing the word script because it's got a filter on it saying remove words that shouldn't be there, right? So what did they do? This is pretty clever, pretty smart, but also is pretty common sense, right? Well, if you're going to remove my word script, you can see what we did is we put an S, then script. We know that script's going to get removed, and then crypt. So now when script gets removed, it's still going to say script. Does that make sense? And we'll show you here. So you can read the text over here. It says S crypt, or it says S script crypt, right? Then when we hit the page source, you'll see that right here, it just says script because those middle scripts got taken out because that filter read that word and said, nope, get it out of here. Well, when it does that, it leaves us with script again. So perfect. That's a really cool, neat little trick. So now let's go to level 6. All right, and this one's pretty cool. It just shows us the path of a cat. So we'll go to page source, and we'll look at how it handles this. So you can see source equals images cat.jpg. Cool. So here we're going to take advantage of something called onload. So what this means is, boom, copy. So onload, what it means is when you run this, when you load this picture, when it's loaded successfully, I want you to also do this. So basically it's a trigger event. So what it's saying is, upon the loading of this picture, do whatever you want it to do. Well, we want it to give us the alert. So boom, there's the alert. Awesome, it'll confirm it, and we'll put the cross-site scripting master in there. So hopefully that made sense to you guys. That one, like I said, the onload is a feature that will basically allow it as a trigger. Now, you'll see this down here. I don't think you guys can see it right now, but oh crap, did my video freeze? Hopefully it's not frozen on you guys. I think it froze. Crap, I gotta redo the whole video. Oh no, I don't. All right, hopefully that didn't freeze on you. I'll check it, but anyway, so this here, the polyglots, excuse me, it's a string of text which can escape any attribute tags, bypass filters, all that. So this could bypass all of that. So keep that in mind, it exists, but obviously it says here you could have used it on all 6 levels and it would have worked. Keep in mind that there's also a lot of things out there that are looking for that string as well. So it'll probably get caught, but not necessarily. It's a good tool to have in your back pocket, right? All right, so now we got to terminate this one, start this one, and this is where we get into the practical example, excuse me. So this one's pretty cool. So what we're gonna do here, and just to set up a little bit, we'll close this because it's already, and we'll go to our attack box. Perfect. All right, so this is the script that we're gonna end up using. I just saved it, but what we're gonna do, we'll have to change some things on it, is we're gonna go to, this is TryHackMe's listener, basically. So for anyone that's ever set up Netcat Listener or anything like that, that's similar to what this is, but they have their own where they'll let you use it as long as you're connected. And hopefully it'll work. All right, so this is working. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go set, this is going to be a blind cross-site scripting attack. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually set up this, oh, that's why this is the wrong IP. That's not what I wanted. All right. 10.10. There it is. All right. So what we're going to actually do here is we're going to set up a blind cross-site scripting attack. So what happens is we're going to submit a ticket to that Acme website. If you remember the website from every one of their freaking examples, 10.10.192.248.p.thmlabs.com. Now, what did I mistype? .p.thmlabs.com. Not really sure what I mistyped there. Oh, it just wasn't loaded yet. Okay, perfect. So here's our Acme support site. We need to create an account as always. We'll just say Stuffy. I don't want to click enter there. Stuffy at stuffy.com. Password Stuffy, password Stuffy. All right, so we signed up. So now you notice we can put support tickets in. Okay, cool. So what we can do here is we can actually set up a support ticket, and you can see here they'll show you the source code. I'm not gonna break it down, but they already looked into the source code for us. And you can see when you actually submit the ticket and you click on it, you can see here it puts your text right there, but it puts it in a text area. So we already know how to break out of the text area. We did that, right? So here's the text area test, and then you can see here they broke out, and it says text area test, text area, right? So when they break out of it, we've escaped. It says here, upon opening the ticket, you viewed blah, blah, blah. You can see that you escaped the text area. Perfect. So that would be the script that would give us the alert. So when we did that, it would run the alert, which we know will break out of the text area and prove our proof of concept. Now, here it's telling you can do one of two options. You can set up a Netcat Listener, which is super easy. Pretty much everybody should know how to do the Netcat Listener by now. And then here, this is their basically HTTP request listener. I actually have never used theirs, so I wanted to try it. And you can see here they give you the website you got to listen to it on, and boom. So this is the script we're going to actually use, and I'll pull it up over here because I got to change the website on it, and I'll show you guys. All right, so I'll show you guys basically how this script works. So first things first, you can see the text area, right? We know we need to break out of that. I need to copy this. So we know we need to break out of the text area. So there's our text area to break out to end that text area. Then comes our script, and then there's the fetch. So that's saying an HTTP request saying send it to this web listener, right? And it's saying send it in this format, cookie equals, and then BTOA is going to base64 encode the document.cookie, right? And then we end our script. So let's try it, right? So we go ahead and create a ticket. We'll just say example, and then in the contents of the ticket, paste it and create the ticket. Now, here's the key. See, we have nothing. Nothing's listening, or nothing's heard anything. Nothing's going on, right? So someone has to click on this ticket to run that code, okay? Keep that in mind. So what that means is, this is why it's called blind, because right now I wouldn't go click on my own ticket, right? Because I'm submitting it to something. So I'll wait till a support staff or someone clicks it. So we click it, and boom, what is this? We have 2 requests. One of them is HTTP request, okay, the DNS request, obviously. And then look, it says get cookie equals, okay, boom, copy. So it's base64 encoded, we know that. We paste it from base64, and there's our staff session. So now, granted, this is a example website, but now we could change our cookie to this staff session, and we can try it, but I'm going to say it's just going to log us in as us because that's what we did. So let's go ahead and look at our cookie. I forgot that it deletes this for me. Never mind. We'll try it, but this box gets fresh every time. It doesn't have the tool that I wanted, but we got to type this in. But we could actually change, if we actually had a real staff session, then I would show you guys, but it's just going to log us back in as us. But you could actually change this cookie, or our cookie, to log you in as that staff, because it thinks you're currently logged in right now, which you are. So you could actually use that to your advantage. I really hate the flags like this because 19769 7693 because they're so freaking long and I can't copy and paste on this attack box. All right, perfect. So there we go. We beat the box, guys. So that's cross-site scripting. It's a little bit complex, but really at the core of it, it makes total sense, right? It's literally, if they don't put validation checks in their code, they're not validating what we're putting in there. So we can put code directly back into it. That's all it is. It's that simple. So hopefully you guys like it. If you do, hit that like and subscribe button. It helps out a ton. I think we're at 96 subs now, so we're almost at 100. If we do 100, we might do something special. I don't know what yet, but hopefully you guys are liking these junior pen testing paths. This one's running a little long, but hopefully you guys like it, and hopefully you learned something, because this box is really, really cool at showing you the process. So hopefully you guys like it, and hopefully you guys learned something. Thanks, guys.